Charana Padma Kevala Vakati Sadma Shri Guru Charana Padma Kevala Vakati Sadma Shri Guru Charana Padma Kevala Bhagati Sadma
Shri Guru Charana Padma Kevala Bhagati Sadma
Bandhan Muni Savadhana Mate Bandhan Muni Savadhana Bandhan Muni Savadhana Mate
Bandamuni Savadhana Mate
Yahara Prasade Bhai Bhava Toriya Jai
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 Krishna Prapti Hoya Hoite
Krishna Prapti Hoya Hoite
Krishna Prapti Hoya Hoite
Krishna Prapti Hoya Hoite
Guru Mukha Padma Kya Chit Te Koriya Aikya
Guru Mukha Padma Vakya Chitte Te Koribo Aikya Guru Mukha Padma Vakya Chitte Te Koribo Aikya
Guru Mukha Padma Vakya Chit Te Koriba Aikya
Arana Koribo Mane Asha
Harana Kori Mane Asha
Arana Kori Ho
Arana kore amane asha.
Shri Guru Charane Rati Aise Uttama Gati.
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 Ye Prasad Pure Sarvo Asha.
Ye Prasad Pure Sarva Asha.
Ye Prasad Pure Sarvo Asha.
Ye Prasad Pure Sarva Asha. चक्षुदान दिलाए जन्मे जन्मे प्रभु से चक्षुदान दिलाए जन्मे जन्मे प्रभु से चक्षुदान दिलो जे जन्मे जन्मे प्रभु से
चक्षुदान दिलो जन्मे जन्मे प्रभु से.
दिव्य ज्ञान हृदय प्रकाशितो
दिव्य ज्ञान हृदय प्रकाशितो.
दिव्य ज्ञान हृदय प्रकाशितो
दिव्य ज्ञान हृदय प्रकाशितो.
प्रेम भक्ति आहा होते अविद्या विनाशयते भक्ति आहा होते
अविद्या विनाशयते.
प्रेम भक्ति आहा होते अविद्या विनाशयते Vidikaya hara charito Vidikaya hara charito
Shri Guru Karuna Sindhu Adama Janara Bandhu.
Shri Guru Karuna Sindhu Adamaya Nara Bandhu Shri Guru Karuna Sindhu Adamaya Nara Bandhu Lokanath Lokera Jivana Lokanath Lokera Jivana Prabhu karo daya deha more pada chaya Aha Prabhu karo daya deha more pada chaya Aha Prabhu karo daya deha more pada chaya Bebe asha gushukti bhuvana Bebe asha gushukti bhuvana
Jaya Prabhupada Patita Pavana.
Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada.
Jaya Guru Deva, Guru Deva, Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva.
Jaya Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva, Jaya Jaya Guru Dev, Guru Dev, Guru Dev, Jaya Shila Guru Dev,
Jaya Jaya Guru Dev, Guru Dev,
Guru Dev, Jaya Guru Dev. Namah Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nityanamine
Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nityanamine.
Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine
Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine.
Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda
Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Oh. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama,
Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Krishna
Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna,
Haribo.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Krishna,
Haribo.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna,
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Nitai Sachinandana, Nitai Sachinandana, Nitai Sachinandana, Gaura Hari.
Jaya Nita Sachinandana, Nita Sachinandana, Nita Sachinandana, Gaura
Again together. Jaya Nitai Sachinandana, Nitai Sachinandana, Nitai Sachinandana, Gaura Hari. Jaya Nitai Gaura Chandra, Jaya Nitai Gaura Chandra, Jaya Nitai Gaura Chandra, Jaya Gaura Hari. Jaya Radha Madhav Hari Radha Madhav Hari Radha. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Prabhupada, Jaya Shila Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Prabhupada, Jaya Shila Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Gurudev Nitai Gaur Haribo, 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 Nitai Gaur Haribo. Nitai Gaur Haribo, 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 Nitai Gaur Haribo. Again, Nitai Gaur Haribo, 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 Nitai Gaur Haribo. जय श्री निताई सच्चिदानंद देव भगवान की जय, जय कृष्ण प्रभुपाद की जय, नाम संकीर्तन यज्ञ की जय। जय Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivarjakacarya Stotra Shata Shri Srimad His Divine Grace Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivarjakacarya Stotra Shata Shri Srimad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai. Anandagati Vaishnavrinda Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. ISKCON BBT Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Prem se kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shiva Sari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gop Gopinath Sham Kund Radha Kund Giri Govardhan Ki Jai. Vrindavan Mathura Dham Ki Jai. Mayapur Navadvip Dham Ki Jai. Purushottam Kshetra Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai. Ganga Mai Ki Jai. Yamuna Mai Ki Jai. Tulasi Maharani Ki Jai. Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Harinam Sankirtan Yagya Ki Jai. Harinam Mahamantra Ki Jai. Harinam Prabhu Ki Jai. Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol. All glorious assembled devotees Hare Krishna. All glorious assembled devotees Hare Krishna. All glorious assembled devotees Hare Krishna. All glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada Ki.
Hare Krishna. Please can do Jaradha Madhava as well.
Go ahead.
Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari
Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari
Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Jaya Girivaradari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Jaya Girivaradari
Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Jaya Girivaradhari
Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Jaya Girivaradari Jaya Yashodanandana Jaya Braja Janaranjana
Jaya Yashodanandana Jaya Braja Janaranjana Jaya Yashodanandana Jaya Braja Janaranjana
Jaya Yashodanandana Jaya Braja Janaranjana Jaya Yamuna Tiravanachari Jaya Kunja Bihari Yamuna Tiravanachari Jaya
Kunja Bihari Jaya Yamuna Tiravanachari Hare.
Jaya Yamuna Tiravanachari Jaya Kunja Bihari.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Nitai Sachinandana, Nitai Sachinandana, Nitai Sachinandana, Gaura Hari.
Jaya Nita Sachinandana, Nita Sachinandana, Nita Sachinandana, Gaura Hari.
Jaya Golakeshwari, Jaya Golakapati, Jaya Golakeshwari, Jaya Golakapati.
Jaya Golakeshwari, Jaya Golakapati, Jaya Golakeshwari, Jaya Golakapati.
Jaya Radha Madhava, Radha Madhava Radhe.
Jaya Radha
Madhava Radha Madhava Radhe. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Together, Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Gurudev, Gurudev. Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Gurudev, Gurudev. Jaya Jaya Gurudev. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. Srimad Bhagavatam ki
Jai.
jai. Srila Prabhupada ki
Jai. Sarva Premanande,
Hari Hari.
We can't hear you, Prabhuji, but thank you so
Hare
much.
Krishna. Can you hear me now? Oh, no. Okay. Thank you so much, William, and thanks so much, Srikhar, for singing Jayarada Madhava. Okay, so we'll start today's discussion. Hare Krishna. We'll start today's discussion on Srimad Bhagavatam. So thank you very much for joining on Zoom, on YouTube, or Facebook, wherever you are. Thank you for taking the time. Today's verse we'll be reading today from first canto, chapter number 9, which is the prayers of passing away of Bhishma Deva, and verse number or text number 19. So I'll recite the verse 3 times, and if you want to recite, please. अस्यानुभावं भगवान् वेदगूह्यतमं शिवः देवर्षि नारदः साक्षात् भगवान् कपिलो नृप अस्यानुभावं भगवान् वेदगूह्यतमं शिवः देवर्षि नारदः साक्षात् भगवान् कपिलो नृप अस्यानुभावं भगवान् वेदगूह्यतमं शिवः देवर्षि नारदः साक्षात् भगवान् कपिलो नृप to recite this verse.
अस्यानुभावं भगवान् वेद गुह्यतमं शिवा
देवर्षिर्नारदः साक्षात् भगवान् कपिलो नृपा.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, so we'll go ahead with the synonyms. Asya, of him. Anubhavam, glorious. Bhagavan, the most powerful. Veda, knows. Guhyatamam, very confidentially. Shivaha, Lord Shiva. Deva Rishi, the great sage among the demigods. Narada, Narada. Sakshat, directly. Bhagavan, the personality of Godhead. Kapila, Kapila. Nripa, O king. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Shabapad E. Jai. O king, Lord Shiva, Narada, the sage amongst the demigods, and Kapila, the incarnation of Godhead, all know very confidentially about his glories through direct contact. Purport. Pure devotees of the Lord are Buddhas, or persons who know the glories of the Lord in different transcendental loving services. As the Lord has innumerable expansions of his plenary form, there are innumerable pure devotees of the Lord who are engaged in the exchange of service of different humors. Ordinarily, there are 12 great devotees of the Lord, namely Brahma, Narada, Shiva, Kumara, Kapila, Manu, Prahlad, Bhishma, Janaka, Sukadeva Goswami, Bali Maharaj, and Yamaraj. Bhishmadev, although one of them, has mentioned only 3 important names of the 12 who know the glories of the Lord. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, one of the great acharyas in the modern age, explains that Anubhava, or the glory of the Lord, is first appreciated by the devotee in ecstasy, manifesting the symptoms of perspiring, trembling, weeping, bodily eruptions, etc., which are further enhanced by steady understanding of the glories of the Lord. Such different understanding of bhavas are exchanged between Yashoda and the Lord, binding the Lord by ropes, and in the chariot driving by the Lord in the exchange of love with Arjuna. These glories of the Lord are exhibited in his being subordinated before his devotees, and that is another feature of the glories of the Lord. Sukadeva Goswami and the Kumaras, although situated in the transcendental position, became converted by another feature of the bhava and turned into pure devotees of the Lord. Tribulations imposed upon the devotees by the Lord constitute another exchange of transcendental bhava between the Lord and the devotees. The Lord says, I put my devotee into difficulty, and thus the devotee becomes more purified in exchanging transcendental bhava with me. Placing the devotee into material troubles means delivering him from the illusory material relations. The material relations are based on reciprocation of material enjoyment, which depends mainly on material resources. Therefore, when material resources are withdrawn by the Lord, the devotee is 100% attracted toward the transcendental loving service of the Lord. Thus, the Lord snatches the fallen soul from the mire of material existence. Tribulations offered by the Lord to his devotee are different from the tribulations resulting from vicious action. All these glories of the Lord are especially known to the great Mahajans like Brahma, Shiva, Narada, Kapila, Kumara, and Bhishma, as mentioned above, and one is able to grasp it by their grace. Jai. We'll say the Mangalasharam prayers, and then we can go ahead with the discussion. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayana Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudire Nashtraprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshu Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayyam Dadati Swapadantikam. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuda Padakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagara Raghunatam Vitamtam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijasaitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitamscha Hey Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namosute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Shri Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhischa Kripa Sindhu Bhayevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamini Didamini Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshitarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Natachin Bhagavatam ki jai Shri ki jai. So we'll start the verse once again. The verse we're reading from Canto 1, chapter number 9, text number 19. Asyanubhavam Bhagavan Vedaguyattamam Shivaha Devarshirnaradha Saksha Bhagavan Kapilo Nripa. Translation: O King, Lord Shiva, Narada the great sage amongst the demigods, and Kapila, the incarnation of Godhead, all know very confidentially about his glories through direct contact. Jai. So, in the purport, the first line Prabhupada mentions is pure devotees of the Lord are all Buddhas, or persons who know the glories of the Lord in different transcendental loving services. When I read that first line, I immediately was reminded of the verse from Bhagavad Gita 10.8. Aham sarvasya prabhavo matta sarvam pravartate iti matva bhajante mam buddha bhava samanvita. Which is saying, I am the source of all spiritual material worlds. I am sarvasya prabhavo matta sarvam pravartate. Everything emanates from me. And who perfectly know this, one who knows perfectly engages in my devotional service and worship me with all their hearts. Matva bhajante mam. But who is that person? What Krishna is giving an adjective to people who knows this and knowing that they engage in his devotional service and worship him. Krishna is calling them Buddha or the learned. By saying that pure devotees of the Lord are all very learned. So we may have multiple master's degree or maybe 100 research publications, paper, etc., etc., etc. But that is not the definition of a learned person. Prabhupada says here. The learned person is one who knows the goal of life and what to do, right? So even if you and Kunti Maharani mentions in during her prayers, 4 different things, having good parentage, having high education, and all this stuff is kind of an obstruction to devotional service, because we become proud. I have this many PhDs, I have this many this. Do you think I'm not intelligent enough to understand what is going on? They try to understand spiritual subject matter by engaging or by using the yardstick of material knowledge, right? So even if the person is, so to say, materially illiterate, but knows what is Sarve Pumsham Parodharma, the ultimate, the best benefit and the ultimate good, what is to be done, then the person is learned or intelligent, right? So Prabhupada says very, very clearly, the pure devotees of the Lord are Buddhas. Now, when I read the verse, Vishnudev talks about different Mahajans, right? And there are 2 verses. The first thing it popped into my mind when I read the verse or translation. In fact, the first one is Prabhupada loved this. Used to quote this line of one particular verse. So often I heard, Prabhupada says, Dharmasthittatvam nidam guhayam mahajanayeno kathasapanta. Okay, what does it mean? Dharmasthittatvam, the solid truth of religious principles, is hidden in the heart of unadulterated self-realized person. Nidam guhayam, it's very confidential, it's secret, it's very hidden. And the solid truth of religious principles is hidden in the heart of an unadulterated self-realized person. Consequently, as the Shastras confirm, one should accept whatever progressive path the Mahajans advocate. So we cannot understand what is dharma or the path of dharma by mental speculation or by logic. We have to follow the acharyas, we have to follow the mahajans. Krishna says, Jad Jad Acharati Shreshtha Tat Tat Evataro Jana Sayat Pramana Kurte Lokastat Anuvartate. So whatever great men performs, the common people follow. So the Mahajans are the ones who's leading us the way to Krishna devotion, how to perform devotional service. We should follow their path, right? So in the purport, Prabhupada delineates three different parts, right? The three different parts you could say in the purport. The first part, Prabhupada talks about the Mahajans. Basically, the 12 great Mahajans, and the other verse which comes to my mind is spoken by Yamaraj himself when he's instructing the Yamadutas after they failed, so to say, to catch Ajamil, to bring him to Samyamani or Yamapuri, right? And the verse is Swayambhu Narada Shambhu Kumaro Kapilo Manu Prahlado Janako Bhishmo Palidvaya Sakhirvayam. Yamaraj mentions the 12 names of 12 different 12 Mahajans in the conversation. So Prabhupada mentions about the different Mahajans. And the next, Prabhupada talks about Anubhava. Right? This 1-2 sentences about Anubhava. And this is very deep subject matter which is mentioned in, I think, the certain wave of Nectar of Devotion, basic chapter number 27, I think so, talks about Anubhava. So I'll just give you a brief description of what is Anubhava, and then we go to our topic. Anubhava is an action that results from heightened affection for Krishna, which serves to further enhance your affection. If we say here, Anubhava also means glories. Prabhupada here, and Shri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur also the explanation of what does Anubhava mean. It means when Krishna also has affection for his devotees, the action which Krishna does because of that heightened affection is called as Anubhava. So Krishna being so affectionate, being captured by the love of Mother Yashoda, what does he do? He gets agreed to be tied by the rope. Right? So it's Anubhava. Because his love to Arjuna, because of his intense love for his dear friend, right, Arjuna, Krishna becomes a chariot driver, very menial position. That is his Anubhava. So Anubhava is also the glories of the Lord. Right? So based on his the relation between his devotees, Krishna becomes subordinate. Right? That is the third part we're going to talk about. The first part of the purport is about the Mahajans. The second part is Anubhava. And third part is different features of Anubhava. So the first feature of Anubhava mentioned by Prabhupada is the Lord being subordinate, which we talked about. Vishuddha and the Lord Damodar pastime, and Arjuna and the Lord being the chariot driver, right? Parthasarathi, right? So these two pastimes show Krishna being subordinate of his devotees. So Krishna, when we love Krishna, when there's prema for Krishna, Krishna becomes Bhritya Vashyata. Bhritya means a servant or devotee. Vashyata means captured. So Krishna becomes captured by the love of his devotees. There is the pastime of example given here by Sri Prabhupada as Yashoda and Lord Damodar, and Arjuna as the chariot driver, and Krishna the chariot driver. The second part is convert devotees situated already in convert devotees who are already situated in transcendental position to pure devotees. So even Brahmavadis are in the transcendental position, right? But Krishna has a capacity. The glories of Krishna and the pastime of Krishna has that potency that even liberated souls get attracted to Krishna's message. Now there's a beautiful verse in Srimad Bhagavatam, and this verse is, I think, one of the most famous verses of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gives 64 different meanings of this verse. The very famous verse it comes in the first canto, the 7th chapter, and verse number 10. It says, Sutta uvacha atma ramascha muneyo nirgrantha ari api urukrame kurvanti ahitvikam bhaktim ittam bhuta guno hari. So the Goswami says, all different varieties of Atma Ramas, those who take pleasure in the self or spirit self, Atma Rama, self-satisfied, especially those established on the path of self-realization, though freed from all kind of material bondage, desire to render unalloyed devotional service unto the personality of Godhead. So Sukadeva Goswami, the Kumaras, they were all self-realized, situated on the transcendental platform. This means that the Lord possesses transcendental qualities and therefore can attract everyone, including the liberated souls. That is the potency of, or the glories of Bhagavan's activities. That even Sukadeva Goswami, he was not attracted to anything of this world. When he came out of the womb, he just walked naked. And ladies taking a bath, they did not feel anything, any shame, because they just were looking at him. They knew this person is above this bodily conception. Right? He was totally self-realized. Yes, he had nothing to do with this world, so to say. But even that person got attracted by hearing two verses of Srimad Bhagavatam, which Vyasadeva taught to his disciples. He was so enamored by who is this personality, for such magnanimous, amazing, wonderful qualities. So even liberated persons get attracted to Krishna's pastimes, name, etc. Right? So that is the second part of the Anubhava or glory of the Lord. The third part is what we will be talking about, because the first part is definitely out of my reach. Anubhava, this is all so deep as reading net of devotion to understand what is, and so many. It is basically Anubhava is one of the 5 stages of bhava. We have sadhana bhakti, we have bhava bhakti, we have prema bhakti. And in that bhava bhakti, there are 5 different things. Vibhava, anubhava, gavichari bhava, sthayi bhava. All different kind of this beyond my, my intellectual capacity or my understanding. I have no clue what is going on there. So this is for the rasikas who can appreciate much more. I'm not even close, not even started yet. So what we were talking about is the third part, which Prabhupada mentions in the purport, is tribulations imposed upon the devotees by the Lord. Right? So that is also one of the anubhavas, or the glories of the Lord. Prabhupada mentions here, saying that tribulations imposed upon the devotees by the Lord constitute another exchange of transcendental bhava between the Lord and the devotees. That is also a rasa. There is also a bhava, which Krishna enjoys. Right? So devotees are put in difficulty. Right? So this is one way they depend more fully on the Lord. Even the gopas were put on difficulty. So many times when here 10th canto Krishna book when we read, gopas were put in difficulty. But at one point they said, "Oh yeah, we know Krishna will take care of them, take care of all demons or whatever it is," and they just went to the mount of Aghaskar. And Krishna will take care. Krishna say, "Oh, you are just going ahead. Now I have to take care of everything." But they are totally dependent. They get fully dependent on the Lord because Krishna is there to protect them. But it may seem externally that they are undergoing some kind of stress or unhappiness or difficulties. But those devotees are experiencing different types of happiness. Now, what do you mean by different kinds of happiness? Just imagine, why would someone want to go through or experience pain or unhappiness? No one. But unless they're experiencing something which we are not. So we are thinking what we think when we read this description, we think, oh no, Krishna doesn't love them. He's putting so many, he's putting so many obstacles in their path. But Kundimani says, please let calamity come upon me again and again, so I can remember you more. So they are deriving some kind of happiness which we are not able to appreciate, right? So the devotees, when they go through this phase, so to say, of unhappiness or distress or difficulty, they're relishing those moments. So when Krishna leaves us, or when we think Krishna leaves us, he actually doesn't leave or leaves harshly. It's all for a benefit. Okay? We may not be Tattvadarshi, we may not be, we may not have that vision that what I'm going through is for my benefit. Right? Krishna says, I know the past, present, and future. And Krishna never does anything bad for his devotees or for people in general. Right? Krishna says, Samoham Sarvabhuteshu. I'm impartial to all living beings. Yet I am little partial to my devotees, right? But he doesn't do anything out of to say envy, anger. No, you don't worship me, I'm going to put you in hell. No, Krishna doesn't do anything like that. So uh, when when Krishna puts in difficulty, right, it's for our benefit. We have to understand that aspect. And one example of this is Parishit Maharaj. So he was cursed to die within 7 days. And so what happened? So he had to be very detached from material opulence. And Prabhupada says here that Krishna says, and the Lord says, I put my devotee into difficulty, and this devotee becomes more purified in exchanging transcendental bhava with me. Right? So Parishit Maharaj was put into difficulty. He was cursed to die within 7 days. And so he had to be very detached from his material opulence. But he did not resent he got cursed. Instead, he repented about his actions. He did not resent the people who cursed him, but repented his actions which lead to cursing him. Right. So in the first canto, the 19th chapter, there's a verse. It says, "Se sadhu mena chirena takshika nalam prasaktasya virakti karanam." Right? He says the king accepted this as good news, for it would be the cause of his indifference toward worldly things. So when Parishit Maharaj heard the news that he was cursed and was said to die in 7 days, he accepted this as good news. Right? So Parishit Maharaj was a great devotee and a bona fide candidate for entering into the spiritual world. Right? But even though he was so, his material assets, as the Prabhupada mentioned, that his material assets as the emperor of the world were setbacks for perfect attainment of his rightful status. That opulence around him was still kind of pulling him to a little bit, right? Kind of to move ahead. So as a devotee of the Lord, he could understand that the cursing of the Brahmana boy, although unwise, he was not very intelligent, we know from the reading, Srimad Bhagavatam, was a blessing upon him, being the cause of detachment from worldly affairs, both political and social. He said, okay, that's it, done. Now I don't care about anything. I'm done. He leaves everything and renounces everything and then sits on the bank of the Ganges. So he did not resent or held any grudge towards Shringi, who caused him. Instead, he accepted it as a blessing. And this is the quality of a devotee. Right? They accept any tribulations imposed upon them as a mercy of the Lord. And this is very beautifully explained or in the first canto, the 8th chapter, and the 48th verse. It says, Tiraskrita Vripalabdha Shapta Shipta Hatapi Nasyatat Patikurvanti Tad Bhakta Prabhupihi. The devotees of the Lord are so forbearing that even though they are defamed, cheated, cursed, disturbed, neglected, or even killed, they are never inclined to avenge themselves. Right? So this is so to say the extreme end of the qualities of a devotee. That is, I can't even relate to this, right? So devotees are so compassionate, so tolerant. Right? They do not seek to avenge themselves, even though they're going through all this, being defamed, cheated, cursed, disturbed, neglected. But sometimes devotees do this as a service to Krishna, versus Krishna's energy also. Prabhupada, no, it's Krishna's money. He would not waste a single paisa or cent. He would have detailed accounts of everything, right? But this is the level of a devotee, and this does not mean that Prabhupada was all this. He did not care about all this stuff. Whatever is anukulyena Krishna anushilan bhaktiruttamam. What is favorable for devotional service, what is favorable for Krishna service, he had to teach his disciples how to operate in this world. Right? If the child is saying, "Oh, defame, no problem. You do whatever, don't worry about it. To defame, to be cheated, let them take all the money. No problem." No, he had to teach. Right? So Uttam Bhaktya will come to the Kanishta or Madhyama to teach how to do properly, how to behave properly. Even so, when the teacher starts teaching, writing A, B on the blackboard doesn't mean the teachers are also learning ABCD. Teachers just teaching the students how to learn the alphabets. Right? So Prabhupada also came here to teach us how to, Lord Chaitanya already started the movement, but came to remind us and revive it. So this is how you perform devotional service. So devotees of the Lord are very forbearing. So we have developed this mentality, the mentality of pure devotee. Right? Understand that nothing happens without the Lord's will. And even if we get some bad reaction, it's Krishna's mercy that we deserve it. Very proper consciousness of a devotee. Right? So when something bad happens to us, we should think that, oh, my sinful reactions, my reactions, right? Whatever backlog I have, that's getting rid of. Thank you so much, Krishna. Right? And something good happens. Oh, my good reactions, they're also going off. Because either of those, if you have either of those, we'll still stuck in this material world. Shine punya martya lokam vishanti. Even if we do punya, we'll go up and come down. If pap, we'll go down and come up. Stuck, right? Bad happens, we should develop that attitude, that mentality, that consciousness that Krishna is gonna make it happen. But we should not like we don't do anything and Krishna will take care of it. We don't do anything. That's not the mentality we should have. We should do our best, and still something bad happens, which is out of our control, then accept as Krishna's mercy. So Krishna doesn't teach us to be laxed or be irresponsible. We should be responsible and do our best. Right? And this is very heavenly said in the, I think it's 2.47, one of the most misquoted verses of Bhagavad Gita. Right? Do not worry about the results. Do your work. No. Hindi says, "Kaam karo, phal ki chinta mat karo." Right? So Krishna says here, you should work to the best of your ability. Right? So, and when good comes, so thank you so much, Krishna. So we should be thankful to Krishna on both sides of the coin. Right? When something bad happens, I mean something good happens also. So, and in the 17th chapter of the first canto, the 18th text, when Maharaj Parikshit questions the bull, if it's a representative of dharma, that who cut your legs? His legs were cut, right? So the bull, dharma personified, replies, "Oh, greatest among human beings, it is very difficult to ascertain the particular miscreant who has caused our suffering, because we are bewildered by all different opinions of theoretical philosophers." Right? And in the purport, Srila says, the devotees of the Lord, they know very well that without the sanction of the Lord, no one could inflict trouble upon them. And according to Padma Puran, our present trouble is due to the fructifying of seedling sins. This is a cycle. It's called Kuta, Bija, Aprarabdha. This cycle, right? When we start with ignorance, we fall into this. Then we have the desire, Bija, and then we do action, Papa. That Papa has the output of a Prarabdha karma, and the other output of that is Kuta, the inclination to do the action again. And the inclination, what happens by doing that? We again do the action, and this cycle goes on. So this seedling, this Kuta is the seedling. I mean that fructifies, we do the action again, and we get the reaction, right? So our present trouble is due to the fructifying of seedling sins. But even those seedling sins also gradually fade away by execution of pure devotional service. Okay? Thus, even if the devotees see the mischief mongers, they do not accuse them for sufferings inflicted. They take it for granted that the mischief monger is made to act by some indirect cause, and therefore they tolerate the sufferings, thinking them to be God-given in small doses. For otherwise, the sufferings would have been greater. Token karma. Okay, so devotees, they say, oh, it says, I got pricked by a needle on the where I would have been cut by a knife. That is what devotees they develop this consciousness that what is happening happened due to I did something in the past, and I could have got something big, but Krishna is so merciful that he gave me a small prick instead of being cut by a knife. Right? And the beautiful verse which uh, um, which encapsulates this mood of a devotee comes in the 14th chapter of the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, prayers by Lord Brahma, text number 8. It's very, very famous verse. What is this? Tattenukampa amrutamikshmano gunjan evadmakritam vipakam hridvagvapu bhirvidadan namaste jive to yo mukti pade siddhaya bhak. Translation says, my dear Lord, one who earnestly waits for you to bestow your causeless mercy upon him, all the while patiently suffering the reactions of his past misdeeds and offering you respectful obeisances within his heart, words, and body. Hrid, Vag, and Vapu is surely eligible for liberation, for it has become his rightful claim. Right? So, this is the quality, this is the consciousness of a devotee. And Lord Brahma is saying this because he also, because of actions, is extremely embarrassed, right? And he was so ashamed, and he spoke his words, saying that, I'm sorry, what I did. He also taking this. He's saying that it's maybe because of my past reactions or past actions or something with which I acted in this particular way. So when something bad or good happens, as I mentioned, we should accept both, not just bad. Right? When good happens, or not just good, even bad actually. Like good happens, we'll say, oh, Krishna, amazing, God is amazing. If something bad happens, it is no God. We flip instantly, right? The devotees, as devotees, we should understand, or as aspiring devotees, we should understand that both bad and good, if it happens, it's by Krishna's mercy. And this verse, Prabhupada mentioned in the purport, that Suksamikshmana indicates that the devotee earnestly awaits the mercy of the Lord, even while suffering the painful effects of previous sinful activities. Not that I'm going to Krishna, that's enough. Isn't it enough? I'm already going to so much. Please let it be over with. I'm done. Please, this is too much for me to handle. Devotee earnestly awaits. It does not demand of the end of suffering, right? Please answer right now. I did so much. I only deserve this much pain, not more than this. No, the devotee says that earnestly awaits for the mercy of the Lord, while suffering through all the reactions of the previous sinful activities. And Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita that a devotee who fully surrenders unto him is no longer liable to suffer the reactions of his previous karma. Aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshishami. So, one who fully surrenders unto him, but is no longer liable to suffer the reactions of the previous karma. However, because in his mind, the devotee may still have some remnants of previous sinful mentality, the Lord removes the last tidbits, tail ends of the enjoying spirit by giving his devotee punishments that may sometimes resemble sinful reactions. So even though we may see that some devotees are going through some bad times, we should not judge, because past sinful activity, that's just a bill, right? No. Right? So we should not judge people by their karma, but instead we should focus on our dharma. We should not judge people by their karma. This person devotee is suffering because of something bad they did. So bad. We start judging. We start forming opinions about devotees, criticizing devotees. No. Instead, we should focus on dharma, saying that so amazing, they're so amazing, wonderful devotees, and this is Krishna's hand. Right? Because they have left everything in Krishna's hand, I'm sure they are seeing Krishna's hand in everything. Right? So just like a fan, the fan is moving at high speed. The turn of the fan is not moving and immediately stops. No, just because the momentum or inertia, whatever, right, it slowly comes to a halt. Similarly, when even the devotee is fully surrendered, the last tidbits, vestige of the enjoying propensity, Krishna will remove it. Right? Because Krishna wants the devotee to come back as soon as possible. Right? Krishna will give some punishments, so to say, that sometimes resemble simple reactions, but it's not sinful reactions based, judged by the karma, the law of karma, is Krishna's own, so to say, activity being there. Krishna is playing to help devotee come back to him as soon as possible. Right? So, the entire creation, so to say, the material world is the purpose of the material world is to rectify the living entity's tendency to enjoy without the Lord. Therefore, a particular punishment given for sinful activity is specifically designed to curtail the mentality which that causes the activity. Okay. So Krishna is very, what to say, a very engineered or very specific, tailor-made reactions based on what is the cause for this sinful activity or the propensity to do sinful activity. Krishna will tailor make some kind of punishment so that the last parts they go away. Right? So although devotee is fully surrendered to Lord's devotional service, until one is perfect in Krishna consciousness, the devotee may maintain a slight inclination to enjoy. Right? Therefore, the Lord creates a particular situation to eradicate remaining enjoying spirit. Okay? And one vivid example of this is Vritrasura. So I think this comes in the 6th canto, if I'm not wrong. Forgive me. This comes 6th canto. The pastime of Vritrasura. And name of the chapter is Vritrasura, the godly demon, or not chapter name, but he is considered the godly demon. Right? So the pastime is like Maharaj Chitraketu. Many of you must know the pastime of Chitraketu. He was very unhappy. He had so many wives, but he had no children. And then Narad Muni and Angira Muni told them, okay, we'll help you, but on a condition that he's going to be the source of misfortune or sadness very soon. Chitraketu said, don't, that we'll take up later when it comes. And the son was appropriately named as Harsha Shoka. Harsha and Shoka, the opposite words, oxymoron. Right? But then later, finally, he died, everything happened. It's a long story short. He got to meet Lord Anantashesh. And Lord Anantashesh started describing the glories of the Lord. He was so enjoyed, was so happy hearing the passion of the Lord. And after that, he started traveling across the universe, along with the Siddhas, the Charanas, so many describing the passion of the Lord. And at one point of time, he happens to pass by while traveling in the world. There's this Lord Shiva sitting along with other Siddhas, Charanas, other Devatas, the sages, and he's describing the pastimes of the Lord. He's reciting Srimad Bhagavatam while embracing Mother Parvati sitting on his lap. Seeing this, right, Chitraketu started passing some comments. Okay? So he started passing comments saying that, oh, see, wonderful Mahadev, and all this stuff. He started, I think, the 3 or 4 verses which he speaks about Lord Shiva. The Lord Shiva, he's so, yes, no problem. You say whatever you want, I don't care, kind of, or I don't mind, so to say. He smiled very pleasingly. But Mother Parvati, on the other hand, could not tolerate the insult to her husband. Right? So Srila Prabhupada says in the purport that he actually did not mean to insult Lord Shiva. But he should not criticize the Lord in one sense, but he actually transgressed the social customs. Right? So Mother Parvati got extremely angry. And then he cursed Chitraketu Maharaj. He said that Chitraketu, becoming a very great devotee of the Lord Vishnu, Sankarsana was somewhat proud at being achieving Lord Sankarsana's favor. Right? So this kind of pride is not tolerated by Krishna. So Parvati, being very angry, spoke to Chitraketu in the following way. He said that, oh, you think you are so better than Lord Shiva in controlling the senses? Right? He thought that Lord Shiva is not able to control his senses, sitting his wife on his lap and embracing and then speaking Bhagavatam. Right? He said, oh, you are much greater than Lord Shiva in controlling senses? And then Parvati cursed, saying that may you get a body in a very low, per se, species as a demon. Right? The moment he heard that curse, Mahachitraketu immediately apologized to Mother Parvati. But so Prabhupada writes in one of the purports saying that he knew that he did not commit any offense at the lotus feet of Lord Shiva or Goddess Parvati. Yet he had been punished. And this means that the punishment had been ordained. Thus the king did not mind it. A devotee is so humble and meek that he accepts any condition of life as a blessing from the Lord. And Brahma Samhita says, Karmani nirdahati kintu cha bhakti bhajam. Devotee is free from the reactions of his karma because he is taken devotional service. So in Chitraketu Maharaj, right, he humbly took, that I did not do anything wrong. But he did not speak in a criticizing way. It was in a wonderful way, he was explaining. But Mother Parvati took, or not Mother Parvati, took Krishna from the heart of Mother Parvati, to say, pushed her or propelled her to give the curse. Why? Because he wanted Chitraketu Maharaj to come. This is explained by Shri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. Maharaj Chitraketu's being cursed by Parvati should be considered the mercy of the Lord. The Lord wanted Chitraketu to return to Godhead as soon as possible, and therefore he terminated all the reactions of his past misdeeds. Acting through the heart of Mother Parvati, the Lord who is situated in everyone's heart, right? He's Sarvasya Chaham Bhisannivishto, and sitting in everyone's heart, right? Acting through the heart, Lord, so to say, cursed Chitraketu in order to end all his material reactions. And thus Chitraketu became Dhritarashtra in his next life, and after returned home back to Godhead. And we know there are 4 chapters or 5 chapters about this, the appearance of Dhritarashtra, and finally the battle between Dhritarashtra and Indra. He was so powerful, he pushed back Indra's strongest weapon, the Vajra Ayudha, thunderbolt weapon. And when that happened, Dhritarashtra started speaking philosophy, and saying that, please rise and fight. He actually gave a pep talk to keep fighting. But the beautiful verses, I think there's only 5 verses, main 5 verses which Dhritarashtra spoke. And that is, I don't remember the chapter number, but it's, I think, last 5 verses of the chapter, of the last chapter of Dhritarashtra. Right? So when devotees, when they're put into difficulty, the prema increases. Right? And thing, Maharaj Yudhishthir, after the performance of Ashwamedha Yajna, at the end, asked Krishna, "Oh Lord, why does the worshippers of Lord Shiva, they enjoy so many opulence, they enjoy gratification so much, but you, the Supreme Lord Hari, but your devotees, they don't enjoy, they don't have so much opulence. Why is that?" And Krishna becomes very pleased by this question, and this question was asked by Maharaj Parikshit. And Sukadeva Goswami says, well, your ancestor Maharaj Yudhishthir asked the same question to Lord Krishna after the Ashwamedha Yajna. And then the Lord replied in the following way. It comes in the 88th chapter of the 10th canto. It says, Yassaham anugranami harishe tadhanam shanai tato dhanam tajanti asya swajana dukkha dukkhitam. The personality of God had said, if I especially favor someone, I gradually deprive him of his wealth. Then the relatives and friends of such a poverty-stricken man abandon him. In this way, he suffers one distress after another. It's mentioned by Prabhupada in the purport as well. When he becomes frustrated in his attempts to make money and instead befriends my devotee, I bestow my special mercy upon him. Okay. So Krishna is saying that I put my devotee in such difficulty. Right? And then finally, we have so many ashraya. There's so many shelters. We take shelter of so many things, right? But Krishna says, Sarvadhram Parityaja Mam Ekam Sharanam Raja. Please take only, Krishna says, you take this one of the shelters. No. Mam Ekam Sharanam Raja. Only me, exclusive, Ananya, not multiple choice. Take only me as the shelter. Since we have so many shelters, and Krishna especially favors someone, he takes away, he puts us in such particular circumstances that we are forced to abandon those shelters, or those shelters, those false shelters we take off, they are of no use. They say they give up. And then we understand, oh, I thought that is my shelter. I could, if there are any problems, I could take shelter of this particular person, thing, circumstance, whatever it is. And when we understand that, oh, this is not going to work, this is not working, we do elimination. Okay, no, not working, and finally understand, oh, Krishna is the only shelter. He is the Ashraya Vastu. Right? Remember, one of the 10 subject matters of Srimad Bhagavatam is Tatra Sarga Visargascha Sthanam Poshanam Utaya Manvantaru Ishanukatha Nirodha Muktir Ashraya. 10 subject matters. The first 9 are described throughout the first 9 cantos. And the last, this Prabhupada translates Ashraya as the Samam Bonam. That is the 10th canto. Right? So Krishna is the Ashraya Vastu. The place where we should take shelter. Right? So he puts the devotees in so much difficulty, especially when he favors, right? Not everyone. That they are forced to give up, the devotee forced to give up all their other shelter and take finally Krishna's shelter. And Krishna then explains why does people worship Lord Shiva, Lord Brahma, and not me. Krishna says, because I'm very difficult to worship, people generally avoid me and instead worship other deities who are quickly satisfied. When people receive kingly opulences from these deities, they become arrogant, intoxicated with pride, and neglectful of the deities. They dare to offend even the demigods who have bestowed benedictions upon them. And then Sukadeva Goswami goes to explain, as an example of this last sentence, they dare to offend even the demigods who have bestowed benedictions upon them. As to give a reference about this particular sentence especially, Sukadeva Goswami then goes on to explain the pastime of Vakrasura, the finger on the top, the pastime of Lord Shiva. Right? So, when devotees, there's so many pastimes we can talk about, which exhibits this particular example. One of them is, I heard this pastime from one of the devotees saying that there's a Brahmana and he had a cow, and he used to milk the cow, and the milk from the cow he used to offer to Krishna. There's the only thing. He had only one possession with him, that is his cow. That's it. And one day the cow died. And Mother Rukmini asked Lord Krishna, oh Lord, why he only had the cow? And he was using that to worship you and offer you. He said, the love which he had for the cow, I want that love also. Even I want that love also. Krishna is very eager because he knows the intensity, the power of the devotee, and he wants the entire thing for him. Right? Because we will have the highest love when it's directly with Krishna. Right? So Krishna Prem, right? So many other pastimes. So I would like to end with one thing. Let's see. I'm thinking where to end. So, well, okay. So we should practice. In essence, to develop the attitude and all this conferential knowledge, especially that why Krishna does what he does. The Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur mentions in the purport that Shiva and others know particular actions of Krishna. That is, those actions he chooses to reveal to them, but not his intentions, his real forms, real powers. So Krishna chooses to reveal, and there are the nitty-gritty details. May not be everything, but many of the secret Guhya Tamam, Guhya knowledge of why is Krishna doing these things, why is Krishna doing this in this way. These are all known by the Mahajans, the very confidential devotees of the Lord, right? So, and we as devotees should try to develop or cultivate that mood of the devotee. And one of the most important quality of a devotee is Dainya Bhava, or humility, right? So when we practice Krishna consciousness sincerely with a humble heart, then Krishna will make our life successful, right? And so we should have firm faith in Krishna and Krishna's name, and that Krishna and Krishna's name are not different. Abhinnatam naminamino, and chant purely without any material desire, then Krishna will purify our heart. And that Daina Bhava is exhibited in such beautiful ways by acharyas. One thing which comes to my mind is Sri Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Many of his bhajans are in that mood. If you have read the bhajan Amar Jivan, Bhaktivinoda Thakur is not even close to any of those. The things which he mentioned in the bhajan, Amar Jivan Sada Pape Ratha Nahiko Punya Valation, not a single punya. I'm so fallen. I'm this. I'm what? That is humility, right? He's actually feeling. It's not just saying a poetic composition. No, he's actually feeling it, right? Sri Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami mentions that I am lower than the worm in the stool, and even Jagai and Madhai are so much wonderful than me. That is the mood Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami has. That humility. Humility attracts other people, especially Krishna, right? So we should try to cultivate that mood of genuine humility, not fake humility. But at least, even if it's not genuine, at least start with fake humility. At least it will start. Maybe we'll develop something, right? But we should develop that genuine humility, and that humility will attract Krishna. So thank you so much. I'll stop here. So hopefully this is something useful for you, and please forgive me if I made any offenses. If at all anything good came out of it, it's all the mercy of my Guru Maharaj and Srila Prabhupada. And if at all anything, any mistakes, anything bad, any unnecessary things, which they might be, most probably, I'm sure it will be. If at all something came out of my mouth, it's all because of my mistakes. So kindly, please, since you are my Guru Janas, please instruct me, please correct me. I'll be very happy to learn. Thank you so much. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Sri Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna. Please, if you have any questions or comments or reflections or corrections, so to say.
Thank you very much, Narottama Vilasa Prabhu. It's nice to see you and nice to hear you speak. So Prabhu ended sharply at 9 a.m. so we can entertain questions. I appreciate how you connected the verse through expansions into different pastimes and applicability in our personal life, the life lessons. That's wonderful. So would other devotees like to ask questions or reflections? I see we're joined by illustrious personalities from Bahrain as well. I hope they're all doing well and staying safe. So, dear devotees, please go ahead. Enthuse Prabhu by your questions and reflections.
Please to correct me as well. Oh, there's nothing then to. Can stop here too then. There are no comments, reflections.
Is somebody trying to talk but maybe muted? It sounded like I could hear somebody speaking.
No, actually that is Prabhupada's class going on in the background.
Multi-layered presentation. Okay, then I guess we'll wrap up. Thank you. Narottama Das Prabhu ki jai.
Jai Prabhupada ki jai.
Or Premanandi.